crash landed in the Mojave Desert today. How will this impact the spaceport project in New Mexico? Plus, a shooting near downtown El Paso has turned deadly. We'll have the latest on the investigation, including the names of the suspects. And we'll take a closer look at a report that suggests what the future of the borderland's largest school district could look like. And in Stormtrack Weather, Nicole.
We are tracking changes to your weekend forecast. Stronger winds, rain chances also go up. All the details coming up, let you know if it'll affect your weekend plans. That's all coming up in Stormtrack Weather.
It was just more of a, we're going to put you on the list, and that was it.
Are local government agencies doing their due diligence when it comes to preparing for infectious diseases? Why one businessman is concerned. ABC-7 at 9 starts now.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC-7 at 9 on the El Paso Las Cruces CW.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on air and online at KVIA.com. I'm Stephanie Valle. We have several big stories to get to tonight, including an update on yesterday's shooting near downtown El Paso and the latest on the Virgin Galactic spaceship explosion. But first, new at 9, ABC-7 has learned the commanding general at Fort Bliss has been relieved, or they have relieved Colonel Thomas Munsey of his duties. Munsey, the former garrison commander on post, had previously been suspended because of alleged misconduct. Officials say the commander on post, quote, lost trust and confidence in Munsey's ability to command based on the results of the investigation. Munsey's deputy, Joseph Moscone, will serve as the interim manager until the Department of the Army appoints a replacement. The El Paso School District is preparing for big changes, but before it decides on a number of issues, including closing and consolidating schools, administrators want feedback from parents and district taxpayers. New tonight, ABC-7's Ashley Rodriguez is live with the details. Ashley.
Stephanie, EPISD is holding its second community meeting on Monday. At the first meeting held earlier this month, the district took a survey. Now it's time for administrators to release the results. The El Paso and Isleta school districts recently commissioned facility reports. Enrollment at both districts is declining, resulting in half-empty schools. In El Paso ISD's case, the district is projected to lose 5,000 students in the next 5 years. Each student brings in about $6,000 in state and federal money, meaning EPISD stands to lose $30 million in funding over that period.
This is our way of getting prepared for the future. We don't want to be surprised. We don't want anyone to be surprised that we, are losing funding or losing enrollment. This is our way of preparing for the future and how best to use our resources.
It's needed to be done now.
At a community meeting in early October, EPISD shared the facility's report with parents and asked them where they'd like to see more resources. At this next community meeting, the district will tell parents what the report found, let them know about the options on the table, and ask for more feedback. The options include closing 14 elementary schools and 1 middle school, consolidating them with nearby schools, combining Andrus and Irvin, then build a new high school at one of the old sites to house both schools, rebuilding 4 middle schools so they can accommodate kinder through 8th grade, reconstructing older schools in need of repair, and changing enrollment boundaries.
If you're not having to maintain so many buildings, that's extra money you have to actually put into your school and your teachers. If we want to be able to give teachers raises, this is a way to do it. If we want to be able to add more money into fine arts, more magnet programs, we know that these are the things that parents are telling us are important to them.
Now, if you don't like these options, you'll have the opportunity to speak up during Monday's community meeting. The district will take the feedback back to the Board of Managers, who will then look into how the district can pay for the massive project. A bond election may be the answer. We'll have to wait and see what the final decision is. The meeting is Monday, November 3rd at 6 p.m. in the Bowie High School gym. Stephanie, back to you.
All right, Ashley, thank you. One person has been killed, another seriously injured after Virgin Galactic Spaceship 2 crash landed in the Mojave Desert today. Virgin Galactic says the cause was an in-flight anomaly. The wreckage strewn across the floor of the Mojave Desert. 2 test pilots sat aboard Spaceship 2. One was killed, the other seriously injured. Today's test flight was using a new fuel. Before today's explosion, 700 people had put down deposits of $250,000 to ride in Spaceship 2, including some of Hollywood's elite. It's unknown what impact this will have on planned space flights from New Mexico. We visited the Virgin Galactic office in Las Cruces this afternoon, and that office was closed. Richard Branson is reportedly on his way to the crash site, and the NTSB is sending an investigative team. Officials say the injured pilot is doing as well as can be expected. The 18-year-old shot multiple times yesterday in a parking lot near downtown El Paso has died. Also, police have arrested three teens and charged them with murder. 18-year-old Aaron Ochoa was a student at Paso del Norte Academy. The El Paso ISD tells ABC-7 he was a student at Irvin High School as recently as last month. Police say the three men arrested and charged with murder are 19-year-old Miguel Begovia, 17-year-old Gustavo Valencia, and 18-year-old Armando Torres. Begovia and Valencia have been identified as alleged shooters by police. Torres as the alleged getaway driver. Their bonds range from $150,000 to $1 million. All three of the teens are from El Paso. We spoke today with a woman who wanted to remain anonymous. She works right across the street from where the shooting happened.
You could see that there was a body lying there. I could see the legs extended out, and somebody was kind of leaning over. This is before the ambulance came, of course. And just, a lot of commotion, everybody just running around. And then within minutes, the police were here, fire department, ambulance came.
It's unclear at this point whether any of the three teens accused of his murder went to school with Ochoa. To Stormtrack Weather now. It was a cooler and breezy day today. Stormtracker Nicole Gomez is live with your first forecast. And Nicole, just like we predicted, all those little trick-or-treaters had to bundle up a bit.
Oh yes, it's definitely chilly out there right now, and our winds are still breezy, especially across certain parts of town. Let's take a look at our ABC-7 WeatherNet sites, where you can see at Cañutillo, winds are out of the east at 18 miles per hour. At the Greater El Paso landfill out by Clint, a bit stronger, close to 30 miles per hour. Temperatures in the 60s across our entire area. Winds on the west side a little lighter just outside of the studio. Currently, we're at 64 degrees at the El Paso International Airport, 63 Las Cruces. Much cooler in Ruidoso in the 40s, 63 on TRC and Silver City. Here's a quick check of your wind speeds. 12 miles per hour in Las Cruces, 15 miles per hour sustaining here in El Paso. We're at 12 in Ruidoso, and at Guadalupe Pass, the strongest wind speeds at 29 miles per hour. So coming up in your full forecast, we'll talk about what you can expect this weekend. We are tracking some more changes. The details coming up in your full forecast. Stephanie.
Okay, looking forward to it, Nicole. Thank you. The nurse who treated Ebola patients in Sierra Leone is no longer confined to her home. A judge in Maine rejected the state's request to restrict Casey Hickok's travel, keep her from public places, and to order her away from any other person by 3 feet. Hickox now has to self-monitor her health, coordinate her travel, and let state officials know if her symptoms change. Her 21-day incubation period for Ebola ends on November 10th. Attorneys for Hickox said this validates what the nurse has been saying for a week. Someone without symptoms does not pose a public threat and should not be quarantined. New tonight, the head of a local hazardous material cleanup company tells ABC-7 he's concerned about what he sees as a lack of preparedness by governing agencies when it comes to Ebola. James Garza owns the company Emergency Water Removal. He said he was contacted by numerous local, state, and federal agencies earlier this month after the first case of Ebola was diagnosed in the U.S. He said they all wanted to know about his company's ability to clean up a site contaminated with Ebola. His crews handle cleanups of biohazardous material, including crime scenes. He said he told some he was not prepared, but told others he was, so he could find out what the protocol was. But he said he didn't get the feeling there was one.
That was just more of a, we're going to put you on the list, and that was it. It was no checking of credentials, background, nothing. I kind of felt as if they didn't follow through. It was just more to cover their grounds as saying, hey, we have somebody in case, it happened.
Garza said he checks the CDC website daily for any developments and guidelines. Your voice, your vote. The polls show Democratic State Senator Wendy Davis trailing in the race for Texas governor. That's not keeping Davis from campaigning in El Paso, a traditional Democratic stronghold. Today, she was at the county courthouse along with some of the members of the El Paso delegation in the state legislature and dozens of supporters. Davis told the crowd that if elected, she will focus on issues like improved funding for schools and an increase to the minimum wage.
Our people just need to vote. We have more voters than Greg Abbott does, and if our voters will come, we will win, and we will make a change in this state for the hardworking people of this state.
Attorney General Greg Abbott was also in El Paso earlier this week. He said then that one of his top items for our area would be doubling border security spending and putting 500 more state troopers on the border. The election is November 4th, next Tuesday. One of the men accused of brutally killing another man found in a vacant downtown building went before a judge this morning, and he pleaded not guilty. 19-year-old Thomas McNair is charged with the murder of Gerardo Luna and tampering with evidence. 4 others are also facing charges in connection with Luna's death. In September, an El Paso electric crew found Luna's remains inside a vacant building downtown. Investigators say he was strangled, beaten, and bound and gagged before being set on fire. 5 people were reportedly involved. Only one other person has been arraigned. In Mexico, a judge has ordered the immediate release of a U.S. Marine reservist. The judge released 26-year-old Andrew Paul Tamuresi without making a determination on the charge against him. Now, he has been in a Mexican prison since March on weapons charges and was arrested near the U.S.-Mexico border in Tijuana after Mexican customs agents found 3 firearms in his truck. Mexico's gun laws prohibit anyone from illegally bringing weapons into the country. Since his arrest, Tamuresi maintained that he took a wrong turn on the California side of the border. El Pasoans are having to break a Halloween tradition this year.
So the sheriff decided that this year wouldn't be a good idea to have it.
Just ahead, why the sheriff's office is not putting on its annual haunted house and what its plans are for the future. Also,
you can put in your zip code and then go within a certain mile radius of your area and find out who lives in your neighborhood.
advice from local law enforcement agencies on how to stay safe on All Hallows Eve. And in Stormtrack Weather, Nicole.
Well, changes are on the way. I'll let you know if we're expecting cooler temperatures this weekend, rain, and even stronger winds. It's all coming up in Stormtrack Weather.
This is ABC 7 at 9, where news comes first.
You're watching ABC-7 at 9 on the El Paso Las Cruces CW with Stephanie Valle and Stormtrack Weather with Nicole Gomez.